Hello, hello. Welcome back to our channel, a sacred space that is yours, mine, and the divine. If it's your first time here, my name is Aaliyah Simone. Thank you so much for joining. Today we're doing a pick a card reading about third-party situations and the lessons that were meant to be learned. So I went ahead and hit record on this because I was actually just shuffling to get the initial 3 cards for the pile selection, and then I was shuffling the additional decks that I have in order to clear out the energy and prepare it for each of the piles. But when I got to the lyrics, my handmade lyrics deck, and then also this archetypes decks, each of these 3 cards fell out together, and then same with this one. So it's looking like, and it lined up exactly like this. So Spirit is saying, my guides are actually telling me that this was set up intentionally, and the reason why is because, first of all, your energy is here. So whatever pile you're intuitively drawn to, be open, your energy is here. However, this is one of those readings where everybody's energy, well, most readings are like this, but everybody's energy in this third-party situation is here. So whether you identify as a divine counterpart or a karmic, or your person is a karmic, or your person is a divine counterpart, or the third party is the divine counterpart or the karmic, whatever the situation is and how it lines up, the third-party situation, each of these energies are here. And it's up to you to determine, but it's set up, it's up to you to determine whose energy is what. It's set up this way though, so that you, as you come to this, when you come to this reading and you listen to this, that you can have information to move you into a space of compassion and acceptance, which is at the bottom of this archetypes deck, for yourself and then for all parties involved, because this scenario was meant to show everybody their demons, their shadow sides, which is the bottom of the deck energy for this one. You have Exorcist, and the shadow attribute is fear of facing your own demons. And so what that entails, or what that specifically relates to, is how these piles will break down, but it's relating to a third-party situation that ended in a separation and a heartbreak for each of the parties involved. And again, this was intentional. So I wanted to go ahead and put that out there now. And before I continued shuffling more, the screen of this is going to be, the thumbnail for this is, I'm going to try to squeeze it in. But in the meantime, let me show you. This was my initial intention for the piles. So this one is pile 1. And this is the service. This one is pile 2, which is focus. And then pile 3, which is Anubis. And I noticed that all of these have that feline, canine quality. I don't know what the significance of that is just at this moment, but I was immediately picked up on that. If you're drawn more to the cards, to the songs, pile 1 is everyone falls in love sometimes. I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. Pile 2 is I knew I loved you then, but you'd never know, because I played it cool when I was scared of letting go. And then pile 3 is I could have my Gucci on, I could wear my Louis Vuitton, but even with nothing on, I made you look. All right, and then if you're more drawn to the archetype decks, for pile 1, we have the Hermit card. For pile 2 is the Martyr card. And pile 3 is the Judge card, this archetype, these archetypes. Okay, so let me just, while I have it here, I want to go ahead. This song fell out. I was flipping the deck over to see the bottom of the deck energy, and this card fell out. So again, this is relating to like lessons, what you were meant to see, your shadow elements that you were meant to see as it relates to love and heartbreak, and the lesson that you're meant to learn, so that you can overcome that and integrate and move more into your light attributes to set you up for successful love relationships. But the songs here you have for the bottom of the deck energy for each of these piles is Unbreak My Heart, Say You Love Me Again, Undo This Hurt You Caused When You Walked Out the Door, Uncry These Tears, I Cried So Many Nights, Unbreak My Heart. That's Toni Braxton. And then the other one is Alive by Sia. It's, I had a one-way ticket to a place where all the demons go, where the wind don't change and nothing in the ground could ever grow. No hope, just lies, and you're taught to cry in your pillow, but I survived. This card feels very significant. Like the theme of this song is very present. There's a lot of conversation about like demons, shadow aspects, and like learned behaviors that were ultimately not beneficial or serving to you and relationships, and it's ultimately leading to heartbreak for you and the other people, whether it's intended that, whether you guys intended that way or not. So that's what I have. Sorry the intro has been so long, but if you need to take a second, I don't know, honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna put a thumbnail here because there's so many cards. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward, and I will see you at your piles. Okay, pile number one. So first of all, you have a lot going on. You are a busy, busy, busy person. And typically this would be a PowerPoint, a source of pride for you, but so much was happening when I was going through the shuffling. First of all, before I just started communicating to you in this pile, I got the notification on my phone that my battery's at 20%. And I've only just started using my phone for the day. It's, you know, like not even 11:30 in the morning. Well, it's about 11:30 in the morning. And that's significant to this pile because it's all of these things that you have your hands in is a part of what you have to learn. But a couple things. It's like okay, do you see how my energy is? If I feel there's so much, first of all, you absolutely would benefit from grounding. Let me just say that, because there's so much going on in your mind all the time, like problem solving. Okay, I got to do this. Let me make sense of this. Let me put this together. It's like autopilot is what I just heard, where it just runs. This is giving me like, this feels like a hustler mentality. Like I'm gonna make things work. And it's typically not stressful, because you're used to being in this energy. But what I'm hearing is it's like this when you're born in, okay, well, the way that I'm hearing it is like when you're born in darkness and then you experience light for the first time, it's difficult to go back to darkness. And it's that energy where that's a part of what you're meant to learn, that there's nothing wrong with being in hustler energy, but you want to bring balance, because otherwise you're giving so much to everybody else and every other situation and problem solving. Self-sacrificing and power hungry are your chakra cards that came out for you, and that's exactly this energy. It's like this self-sacrificial, I can show up in all these ways. You're not recognizing it as self-sacrificing, or that even this is coming from a place of power hungry, because when people rely on you and you have the answers, magician is standing out to me, when you can be the problem solver and you can come up with the solutions, and you can even, it's like the way that I'm seeing it is like you come up with, I just heard unconventional ideas to solutions. This infinity sign is also really standing out to me on this hoodie, and then the hoodie in general, like something about clothing or something like that. I don't know. But with the infinity symbol, it's like I'm hearing there's no such thing as a no. Like there's no problem that you can't solve, seemingly, right? And then a situation comes in, this third party situation, and I'll get into that in a minute. But going back to what I was saying about your energy is that it's being pulled in so many directions, and it's self-sacrificial, and you haven't recognized how that is a detriment to you and how that's draining you. Again, it's depleting you and bringing you to 20%. And so it's leaving you without the capacity I'm suddenly now I'm feeling like winded, and there was so much energy that was coming in at once that I feel like, And I'm noticing on this wolf card how it's like, the way that I'm seeing this is that this wolf just ran through and saved its family from a fire, but all of it's singed. Its fur is on fire. You can see like the, what is that called? The like debris or whatever that's coming off. And he's standing there with pride. Like, I was able to show up in service for my family or for this thing. And that's the power hungry. Like, that's where you get your power. I just heard autonomy. So, okay, that's another message. There's so much. Let me try to ground it. Okay. So the lesson that you're learning is a big one. All right. Because what's happening here, what you're meant to see is that you are giving so much to everything else outside of yourself, and you're not giving to yourself. The song that you have is Everyone Falls in Love Sometimes. I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. And this is coming through as your guides saying that to you. It's like when love comes in, the message is that this situation, this third party situation has come in, caught you by surprise, and it was a situation of love. There is love there. There's still love there, your guides are saying. So if you're wondering, I'm being drawn to this unbreak my heart, say you'll love me again. Whoever the person, this is your energy. Whoever the person is that you're thinking of, I feel like there's this question or this thought of it's over or something, like I ruined it. And your guides are saying like, everyone falls in love with you. I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. And the way that message is coming through is like, whatever you did, it's a crime. Like, everyone falls in love. Everyone loses their mind in love and goes, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't always make the best decisions. No one is perfect. And it's like, I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. You can still rectify this situation. And it's like, for the other person's energy, it's like, unbreak my heart, say you love me again, undo this hurt you caused when you walk out the door. So if you're wondering about that other energy and how they feel on like, this is their energy. Unbreak my heart. Like, they would be open to you unbreaking their heart, right? Okay, so let's put that to the side for a second and get back to you and your energy and what you're meant to learn here. So what's happening is that you have given to so much outside of yourself for the sake of, I just heard dominance, for the sake of power, for the sake of dominance, for the sake of being on top. You see how this is your energy. You see how this wolf is sitting up here on top of everything, and it's like over all of these other people cards. Not only that, but when I don't know if you saw in the shuffle, but I picked these cards up, shuffle, all these came out, and I went to set this down to see the bottom of the deck, and I looked over here where I have my decks to the side, and I noticed that this Ace of Pentacles was laying over there. So I pulled it out, and it be in reverse, being beside you. It's like the way that this is coming through is like you have the authority and the power to present an offer or refuse an offer, or like take an offer away, and that's your power. Well, in your mind, that's where you feel most in control, most dominant. The fact that you have the ability to be in this magician energy and create solutions, and people have to come to you, and you can say, yes, I'll give this to you, or no, I won't. It's like, it's this way of controlling your emotions and preventing yourself from, I want to say hurt, but that seems so watered down and diluted. Like, you get to control how fast and where and what by being in this position where you offer, okay, there's a whole message that's coming through. This person that you were interested in, that caught you by surprise, this love person, this is coming through very much as your divine counterpart, that caught you by surprise, knocked you off. That's okay. This is what you were meant to learn. Knocked you out of your power because your power was false. Your power was more of an ego thing, a sense of control. Let me explain that. You derived your sense of power by, I can give this to you, I can do this, I can provide this service. You have service here. I can provide this service. Or, you know what? No, you're not behaving in the manner that I want you, so I'm going to remove my service or what I can offer or whatever. Even if that's like attention, time, conversation, inviting you to places and bringing you in the loop, or making you feel excluded by not accepting what that other person was offering and rejecting that, or whatever. Like, that's where you gained your sense of control, and kind of like, okay, the way that I'm seeing it is chess, like moving pawns across the board. Like, that's how you I was about to say maneuvered, but I heard manipulate. Like, in my mind, I was going to say maneuver, but manipulated started to come out of my mouth. And it's that's how you manipulated. This tattoo on his arm is standing out to me. You might be, okay, so this is, I don't know if you can see this, probably not, but there's a tattoo here, and it's reminding me of, have you ever seen a Big Bang Theory, and the intro where you see all of like the, like atoms and neutrons? It's very like science-based and logical, and this makes sense, and da-da-da. It's high-level intellect conversation. I mean, they're all like scientists and doctors and stuff like that. That's like your intellectual capacity. Now, whether you're actually a scientist or a doctor, when it comes to strategy, logic, making plans, practicality, like the getting things in order, the very masculine, earthy type of lanes and air, I want to say, like the intellect, it's both. It's air and earth is what I'm getting. Like intellect, ideas, thoughts, problem solving, and then taking that and creating something from it, making things move in the material world in a way that, okay, this seems significant. I think, okay, so the way that, like that, I feel like, okay, the way that it's coming through your, so what's happening here, depressed came out. And it's like, I feel like the way that I'm describing your energy, I think that the way that I'm describing your energy, you're not receiving it well. It's almost like you're receiving it as if I'm speaking negatively. No, okay, this is what it is. I think that so what's the way that it's coming through is that you've recently had an awakening, an ego death, right? And you recognize this characteristic, this aspect about yourself, but you've demonized, well, I don't want to say you've demonized it. In the process of introspection, when we come to first realize things about ourselves, if we haven't accepted it before, our initial reaction is to reject it and to say, no, that's not a thing, and then validate or justify why that's not a thing. And usually, if it's not a thing, we are like, what am I trying to say? Like, if I'm like, no, I'm not a bad person, it's a thing we don't want to be a part of us because society says it's bad or whatever. It's categorized as good or bad. So in this awareness of self and how I'm describing you, I don't know if it's how you've heard it. I'm getting a lot of tarot. So I think that you might have watched a lot of tarot that has kind of really shown you who you are. I'm seeing a mirror in front of someone, and then that someone shattering that mirror, like they don't want to see their self. And that's how that's coming through, because it puts you in a state of depression. The problem with that is the way that you are perceiving, the way that you are taking this in and internalizing it, is that it's a personal attack or that it's bad. It is not. You just have to know who you are and then accept it, and then make sure that the way that you integrate that is in a way that is in alignment with your morals or ethics or your philosophy, belief system, whatever that is, not anyone else's, because you ultimately at the end of the day have to know this and accept this about yourself, right? Not only that, there are people who are the opposite of you, like me. This that you do, I so super admire it, because this is a part of why this I feel like is gonna make, like it's like bringing emotions up for me. I'm gonna get personal and bring myself into this for a moment. I really appreciate this energy. I'm super grateful for it when I come across it, because this is where I know is not my strength. My strength is in intuition and flow and the spirituality, the spiritual realm, connectivity, emotional intelligence, things of that nature. The very like wands and cup energy, which is like fire, passion, emotion, intuition, feelings, love, that type of stuff, where you are intellect, thought, idea, problem solving, practicality, grounding that, materially savvy. Like when it comes to manifesting materially, you can move things quickly when you know what you're doing. The problem is when you start to reject this part of yourself and move into a state of depression because you're judging yourself about this description, it cuts off your ability to manifest instead of integrating this and knowing that this is a power. But how you choose to use that power is what then can be categorized as, you know, for evil or for good. And that's true for anybody, even in spirituality. How a person uses, like, if that's my strength, how I choose to use that could be for evil or for good. I choose for good. You know what I'm saying? So I want to add that caveat because that energy came through very strong. As I'm describing you, I'm not intending to describe this one. This one wants to come out. Generous, warm. Yeah, because I am getting that energy that you are generous and warm, and like you do have the ability to offer things to people. But what I'm getting is that when you pull your offers back or when you reject it or something, it's not because it's a protection mechanism, because you're afraid that you're going to be manipulated. And it's like, okay, I just heard kill or be killed. It's like that kind of, because this is like hustler mentality. I don't know if you used to be like in the streets, like street life, if you used to be a drug dealer or something in that life where it's like you got to get it first or else, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to, like, it's like you need to beat everybody to the top of the hill and put your flag, or else I just heard you're washed. And so I don't know what that means for you, but it's like learning how to come out of that mentality, or not even, it's like learning how to come out of that mentality, or learning how to integrate the mentality so that it works in a way that is in the highest light. Because coming back to this shadow attribute, okay, so what you have is, let me go back to what I was saying before about your energy being busy and pulled and stuff like that. So what happens is you get down to, for example, 20%, like my phone battery shows, and then the way that I'm seeing it is like, fuck everybody. It's like, that's what I heard, excuse my language, but it's almost like now all these things that you were so proud to give to, now you're like, you're ready to cut it off, and because you don't recognize that I just heard overburdened. I was gonna say that you're overgiving, but like you're overburdened. And then so your response to that is to withdraw from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need, where it's like, you're afraid that if you say you can't do a thing or you can't meet, because you've set this precedence of being able to achieve and manage and show up for this person. Let's say you have 5 people. I'm just seeing like a round table. You know how there's one person right here, and then there's there are people all the way around the table, and that one person is presenting, and it's like, yeah, I can show up. I could like that. It's kind of like that. I just heard lightning round. So I think that these things come in really quickly, and you're like on the ready is what I just heard, to go and jump in. Like someone's like, can I have, or I need, or this is a situation, I have this problem, whatever. And then it's like you get to the point where now you're not sure if it's like you don't know yourself. No disrespect, and let me explain what I mean. It's like you don't know yourself enough to know when you are creating and perpetuating a problem. And so because of that, the way that you are interpreting it is that people are trying to take advantage of you, or that they just want something for you, instead of being able to discern energy and say like, this type of person or this person is taking advantage of me, but this person has a genuine need that I can assist, and they're not going to take advantage of it. That's the light attribute. Seek solitude to focus intently on inner life. Serves personal creativity. When you connect with yourself and you know your own energy, then you'll know. Your energy lets you know when another type of energy comes into your energetic field, it communicates to you what that vibration is. Because if it's not a match, you're going to feel that. You know what I'm saying? And you either will be intimidated, which means that energy that's coming in may be vibrating on a higher level, which is meant to call you up. Or if you're just automatically like, you ever have those people where you're like, I don't know, something's off. I just am not feeling this person. Like they did nothing. I don't know. I'm not feeling them. They're vibrating on a lower frequency. And then you have the people where when you meet them, it just feels so copacetic is what I hear, and it matches, you know what I'm saying? And that means you're vibrating on the same frequency. So when you know your energy, then you can easier determine when other energies come into your energetic field, where they fall. And then from that, you can kind of delineate and determine this is probably a person that's going to take advantage, or this is a person that would be reciprocal, or this is a person that can offer probably more than I see. They can offer more than, you know, I can perceive at this moment, and help to elevate me to the point where it's reciprocal, or whatever the situation, however you know what I mean? Not to make it their responsibility to call you up, but almost it's like paying attention and observing that higher vibrational energy. And is there something that you would want to integrate? Not that you want to be that person, let me be very clear, but it's like being open to having the conversations about what their perspectives are, how do they see the world, what's their what are their point of views, what are their experiences, that type of openness. And then from that, see how that feels in your energy, see what that does for your mindset, how that adjusts to your logic, and how you can then expand how you're able to be practical and have these ideas and and then that's how that can serve this strength of yours, where you can move this strength energy into a direction that not only serves you, but it serves the collective and the higher good, right? Because when we're serving the divine, when we're serving the collective, when we're serving the higher good, it always comes back to us, right? So in ways that benefit us, maybe that we don't even readily recognize. Okay, so there's that. Now, going back to this scenario here, this Chariot and this Fool card is really standing out to me. And the way that this is coming through is like, this Fool card is this other energy, your divine counterpart, right? The one that, what I heard is like, I didn't even know. Like, you didn't even know that this was your divine counterpart. And this person might actually be a little bit witchy, or into I just heard the occult, but metaphysical type of living. And I'm just noticing the symbolism in the water, no less. This looks like a lotus, so they might have knowledge in spirituality, and then also the crystal that's in her hand. Anyways, the way that this card is coming through is like, this person is about to take the leap of faith and fall off the ledge away from you. This is your energy, right? So it's like this person is about to, honestly, the way that I'm getting is give up, surrender, let it go, and then move into the water and see where the water takes it to the next person. Because while you might be a divine counterpart, you're not the only there is, the way that it works is, okay, I'm getting like twin flame energy, and I feel like I want to stand up. I don't know why. I need to do that. I feel like I need to stand up, but I'm noticing the black and white here. Sorry if my volume got a little bit louder. I'm going to try to talk a little quieter because I'm closer to the mic. But the way that this is coming through is like, this divine counterpart is ready to fall, and know and trust that even though they might be leaving their divine counterpart, they know that the divine has someone that would be set up of equal value, that will, it's not divine counterpart, but it's someone that will bring fulfillment and happiness. Like, do you know what I'm saying? This person is aware that there's not just one person. It's like, yes, you might be my twin flame, but if you everyone has free will. This is how evolved this person is, this divine counter. Yes, you might be my twin flame, but everyone has free will. And if you choose to go your separate way, I accept that. And I know that there's a person out there that will, show up, and I will get fulfillment, and I will provide fulfillment, and it will be a fulfilling relationship of equal value, reciprocal value, etc. Right? So it's like this person is ready to take this leap of faith, and then your energy is coming through like on top of the Chariot. Like, I'm seeing it like whip. I know there isn't anything attached, because that's what the Chariot is about. It's like non-attachment. It's the ability to maneuver its energy, its chariot, to guide and instruct these horses with its divine energy, not by being authoritative, not by being dominant, not by feeling superior to these other individuals. You know what I mean? It's that, like, yes, naturally this person is on top and is a leader, but he's confident, he's crouched down, he's ready. Okay, so that's what the Chariot card is, but it's like that you're in that energy now where you're ready to just like command your Chariot forward. And it's like, the way that I'm seeing it is like, you're right there prepared and ready to jump off, and then like grab the dress of her to catch her from falling before. And I just heard save the day. Oh, because yeah, save the day. Let me see. This says, unbreak my heart, say you love me again, undo this hurt that you caused when you walked out the door, uncry these tears. Yeah, it's like save the day. Like, you're there. Okay, so it's seeing your lesson is to see how the way it's you have a couple lessons actually. One, to see how you've sacrificed yourself for the sake of others, and it has put you in a position where you have, I just heard, shunned love and what is meant for you, to give to you, to pour to you, because you have I just heard, because you've aligned yourself with so many situations where I just heard the giver, where you're giving. You're meant to be this magician, this problem solver. You're meant to manifest solutions kind of out of thin air, which one, not only enables these people to continue to be needy and codependent on you, it's codependent both ways, because them being codependent on you fulfills this need of feeling like you are of service, and that's where your value is. This reminds me of a conversation I had where I had a discovery, and I was telling that person, you know, if we derive our sense of self and our sense of value on the fact that we can help other people, then what does that mean about us when there is no one else to help? You know what I mean? And it keeps that victim stuck. It keeps that person stuck and enables them to be in victim mode. But what does that say about ourselves? If there was no one else, does that mean that we're not valuable? No, it just means that our value is more internal. And that's what a part of the lesson that you're meant to learn is to go internally and find your true value, not just how you show up for other people, but in aligning yourself with all of these relationships where you're showing up, and oftentimes it's not really reciprocal. And the reciprocity is someone saying, like, praising you for how you showed up and solved the problem or whatever. But the problem with that is as it becomes expected and you're no longer getting the praise or the appreciation, that's when you start to feel, I'm getting defensive energy. Like, fuck these people, like no one appreciates you, because you're this value it's false value. This false value that you've come to believe about yourself in your mind is not affirmed by the external. You were seeking external validation by showing up for people and then people telling you how good you are. That's not true value. You're good regardless if you show up or not, but showing up in the right means. Anyways, aligning yourself with these type of relationships have made it where you're not aligning with yourself, your true love. And so now so when love came in, you weren't able to recognize that it's not a crime. This person asking to spend time with you or asking these things of you isn't trying to take advantage of you. In fact, asking your opinion or they see the strength in this logic that you have. And maybe this person doesn't have this strength, and it's not that they want to take from you, they admire that and cherish that, and they're reciprocal, so they want to be able to pour into you. That's what this infinity is. It's like you pour into them, and then it ends up like pouring into you. You see what I'm saying? Like you pour into them, and then it comes back, because they're spiritual, so it's like they filter that out through the higher realms, the higher consciousness, and pour it into you, and then you pour into them like the grounding aspect. I'm seeing this kind of like a chakra system, where you pour into them in their lower chakras and they pour into you in your higher chakras, and then it's balanced in that way. This is reciprocal energy, and it's what goes in comes out, you know. But you have in order for that to be successful, both people have to be vibrating on the same frequency, and you weren't. You were actually in a position where you were defensive about love. This is all part of what you were meant to learn, right? And I know this is all over the place, and this is a lot, so I hope that it's making sense so far. Okay, so the light attribute for this is to seek solitude, to focus intently on inner life, serves potential creativity. So this third-party situation was meant to, the way that I'm seeing it is like boil up, and then erupt, and then create this kind of like heartbreak situation for everybody involved, so that each person can learn their lesson. And the way that you were meant to level up is to learn to go internal, so that you can find your true value. Focus intently on your inner life. It says life, but I'm seeing light, your inner light. You don't need somebody to validate your light to know that your light is there. You don't need someone to tell you like, hey, you have a light, in order for you to know that your light is there and for that light, to shine. Also, something about like the way you talk to yourself, like releasing negative energy about like your belief. I'm noticing the posture of this man and how he's so scrunched down and hunched over, and just, he doesn't seem very confident, but that's not true to you. Like that's what you've come to believe about yourself, because you have set yourself up you've set yourself up to build your confidence on other people's validation, which means that when you're not receiving that validation, your confidence dwindles. That's not true confidence. That reminds me of something that I posted earlier about true confidence. If you want to check on my community page, it's somewhere there. So yes. Also, something is coming through about this other divine counterpart, where your energy is coming through masculine, by the way, and then this divine counterpart energy is coming through feminine. But with it's like this divine counterpart, it's recognizing how, I don't know, I'm just seeing you like head down looking at, like you're looking at things relating to the material world. You know, maybe your job or your money, or how much you have, like material world, how you make things move. Somebody might be like trying to buy a house or bought a house or something. Like having, like, I'm seeing like checks, like checking off all the boxes. Like I have the house, I have the car, I have the this, I have the business, I have that. Something about that. Like, it's like, again, you're still putting value in the external. Yes, you have the capability of doing that, but recognize that that's the value, not actually having it. That's the bonus, right? And then it's like, this person has, I don't know how to describe it. It's like this person has owned their value in the spiritual. And by that I mean they understand that it's energy, it's vibration, it's a frequency. They understand that everyone's not going to get it. They understand that they're likely not going to get the validation because they're vibrating on a higher level. And this isn't to like, pit you against anyone or say one is better than the other. It's almost like you were meant to see yourself in this person and then reflect that back out. Embody this, where this person, this divine feminine, owns exactly who she is. Look how confident and regal. Not only that, but she's, they say there's that quote or something, that saying where it's like, you can tell when a person is vibrating high when they attract naturally animals, bugs, insects, and children, because they're so sensitive and in tune to energy, right? And it's like that. See how the fish are just kind of just at her feet and she's in command? Like you in this situation, how you're able to be in command of these horses without the attachment of a leash, without having to say, no, you can only go this far, or whip them in order to go. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to use force. You just, it's effortless. It is, what's the word that I'm looking for? Because it's like you just are able to move energy in flow and command these things. And because let me say, for this is what you're meant to learn. This is what you're meant to step into. This is what you're being called up to. The same as this person, that's your divine counterpart, is able to move in a high frequency energy where they can attract, right? That's their strength. And you are able to move in your high, this is giving me like divine feminine energy, which is, again, attraction, flow, cultivating that, calling it to them, calling energy up. Divine masculine, where you're able to delegate tasks, not with force, that you don't have to dominate or control. You can just delegate. And you have so much respect because you are so in your masculine energy, your divine masculine energy, that they're at your command. And it's that. Like, that's what you're meant to learn and see. And you're being called up in this connection, they're from your divine counterpart. I'm like, what I'm hearing is like, step into your power in love too. Like, know that you are worthy and that you have the ability, whether you have the material means at this moment or not. I'm getting a taste of some kind of food. I don't know what it is, but it's like, something about food. I don't know if you, like, I feel like, so what I'm hearing, okay, something about food. Are you not a good cook? There's something going on with food where it's like there's an intimidation factor. I don't know if you like don't have a lot of food, or if you are not, if this person has like if they're a cook, and it's like there's an intimidation factor or something. I don't know how to, okay, hold on. It's like a food insecurity or something. Are you not eating enough? I just heard nutrient deficient. Cause I'm like, yeah. So, but it's like, it's weird because I'm seeing it like this is your energy and this is their energy, and your head is down, and you're kind of like, I'm almost seeing it like you're trying to fish. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to call fish to you, and you're like starving, your head's down, and you're just kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to look up and ask for help. I don't want anyone to see that I actually need food. Meanwhile, this person is open with all these fish ready to share. Open, like legitimately. Look at her hand, look at her arms, heart, her body language, everything is open, ready to share. But this is divine feminine energy. This is attraction energy. This is not masculine. This is not problem solving energy. Not that she's not able to problem solve, but this is, I'm attracting, the way that this energy is coming through is like, I have this abundance of fish. Fish represents food. Fish represents fertility, meaning I have the ability to grow things here. Fish represents abundance. Look up the symbolism of fish, but it's like this divine feminine has all these fish. But you notice that this divine feminine also doesn't have any like material structure around her. So this is attraction. I'm attracting, that's what this divine feminine is like. I'm attracting this. So meanwhile, you're like trying to cultivate it, but you don't, I don't want to, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but if it's coming through like you don't have an understanding of masculine and feminine energy, and you think that you, like, I just heard brute force, like I feel like you're interacting with like, what you think is like working yourself to the bone is manifesting, it's not. And you're wondering why there's no fish in your water, you know? And it's almost like, I think you've had an awakening, and like you've had realizations to this. It's almost like, why am I not, I don't know. It's like, anyways, the story that what I'm trying to depict here is that this person's open, and divine feminine attracts. So it's up to you. It's up to you to decide. It's up to you to take action, because that's masculine energy, towards this divine feminine, so that the two of you guys can utilize your resources and then create something substantial. This Chariot card, move forward. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing like with this Seven of Wands, this is defending your success. And then you have the Six of Wands in reverse. So that's what you need to take action in order to change this to Six of Wands, which is the card of victory, praise, respect, public recognition. You know what I mean? And then you guys will be this Seven of Wands, defending your, I'm seeing like power couple, defending your status, defending who you are, your domain. I'm seeing this as like your kingdom. You know what I mean? And like it's your job to protect this feminine energy, because without this feminine energy, whatever you're trying to I was about to say master, but I was trying to say manifest. So whatever you're trying to master or manifest, it just cannot be. And that's not to say anything about your value. It's just how it's set up. That is what manifesting is. It is a balance of a balance of feminine and masculine energy, is a balance of flow and attraction and cultivating and calling things, but also knowing when to take action and to do, and in what way. It's integrating logic, structure, practicality with intuition, and knowing how to move and feeling the energy. And this, now the time is right. I know we planned for here, but I'm feeling it now that we need to do. Or I know we planned for here, but we should wait a little bit. It's the combination of that. It's trusting. And this divine feminine already trusts you. They already trust you. They already trust your ability to manage. Because this is the thing that I'm getting, is that this feminine energy, this divine feminine energy saw this in you before you see this in you. And so they're just waiting for you to see it in you. And they're calling you up to this Chariot. You know what I mean? The thing is, though, again, like this person is like ready to fall off and like take the leap of faith away from like elsewhere. You know, because it's like, I don't know, it's just like I've waited too long is what I've heard. And so now I'm like, this feminine energy is like getting ready to turn to call out and attract in a different area. Because it's like you heard the call and you were ready, it's like you heard the call, but you didn't answer. You didn't, Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you heard the call and it was almost like you're making eye contact with this person, and this person's waiting like, okay, now as the masculine, you take the action, you take the lead, you take the step. You know, I attract, I call up, and it was almost like I heard a standoff. Like, you took that as a challenge, as a threat. Like, no, oh, okay, you interpreted that as a challenge of superiority. Like, no, I'm not going to bow down to you. I'm not going to come to you. You come to me. That's what you were meant to learn. It is the divine's feminine energy to attract. You're used to being in, no disrespect, but feminine energy of attracting these, I'm going to say, for the sake of like trying to keep the example clear, you were in feminine energy for the sake of attracting, let's say you're a man. You were in feminine energy for the sake of attracting a woman. Like, you call women to you, right? But the women that you were attracting was in masculine energy, which is like, they asserted what they wanted with you. And then you were just kind of like, well, yeah, either I'll go with it or I'll not. You know what I mean? But they were making the move. They were putting themselves out there. They were showing, they were in competition. That's very masculine energy. So this divine feminine is staying sturdy in her feminine energy. And she's like, I'm calling you up. Move into your masculine energy. Take charge of this chariot and command the movement. You know what I'm saying? Not by force, not by having a leash, not by restraint and saying, no, you can only go this far. You know, there's a lot. I know that was a lot, but this can still be victorious. There can still be success here, because again, I'm being drawn to unbreak my heart, say you love me again. And it's like, oh, also your guides want you to recognize everyone falls in love sometimes. I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. And then also like, but I survived. It's that energy of like, yes, we hear you. This thing happened. It was crazy. It was like, probably doesn't even make sense to your very logical mind, especially. And it's like, yes, maybe you did some shit that was effed up, but it's not a crime and you survived. And it's like, everyone here survived. Yes, people got dinged, people got hurt, but such is life. It continues to move on. That's why in the tarot, you know, you have the fool's journey. And if the fool starts at 0, which is potential, there's this quote that's like, a 0 is the complete absence of hope and fear, which I fucking love, because that's where this person is, and they understand that that's life cycle. You go through the fool's journey, which starts at the 0, which is the fool, which is the complete absence of hope and fear, and it's almost this naivety where you're like, well, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And then it ends in the world card, completion, where you've traveled the journey, you've gone through introspection, you've experienced all the things. I would suggest looking into the fool's journey and at least what the major arcanas are and what they represent. Like, this is a major arcana. So you have the fool, which is, again, the complete absence of hope and fear. There's no expectation. It's just like, well, let's see, you know? And you're traveling light because you don't even know. Like, it's naivety. There's nothing before or after. It's just, again, the complete absence of hope or fear. There's nothing to hope for and nothing to fear. So you're like, let's do it, right? And then that leads you into magician, where you start to connect to your power and you see like, oh, okay, I can utilize my innate power to cultivate these types of things, you know? And then you move into number 2, which is the high priestess, and that has to do with your inner voice. So you start to discover your inner voice, and there's a whole journey that goes through and ends with the world, which is harmony, completion, fulfillment. And that happens with various phases of our life. That can happen with love, that can happen with self-identity, that can happen in friendships, that can happen with career, that can happen with spirituality, that can happen. And it does happen in so many lanes. The fool's journey is not a thing that we do once in life and then we die. We do it multiple times, and sometimes we start different journeys at different times. I can be, you know, at the hermit in one phase, which deals with contemplation and seeking truth and my inner guidance, the hermit, when it comes to, let's say, you know, material, but I could be at temperance when it comes to spirituality. And temperance represents, it's like finding meaning, having patience, being balanced, taking what you might have learned from, you know, your hermit and then applying that in a fair, balanced manner, seeing different perspectives, and then allowing that to change you. And then you get to temperance, which brings you to balance and meaning, and that's also where we learn to not have let go of control. It's a whole thing. I suggest you look into it, but it's that where this person's ready to be like, okay, well, that, I've learned from that has fulfilled what it was meant to, And the thing is, you're capable of starting a new journey with this person, a new beginning, but it's not going to be the same. It's a new cycle. It's a new beginning. It's innocent. It's wonder. It's foolishness. Taking what you've learned and that person taking what they've learned and then integrating that within yourselves and then coming together. You guys are different people. You're on different vibrational frequencies. You know what I'm saying? Not from each other, but I mean from where you guys both were before, where you might have met here and then you've both raised in frequency and you can realign in that way. So golly, I feel like, was that a million years or what? Because it feels like that was a really long reading, but I actually really appreciate it. I hope that came through clear and made sense, because I know especially in the beginning it was very jumbled and a lot in your face at one time, but feel free to go back and listen. This might even be a thing that I would take notes on, that I could revisit, me personally, but do as you choose. Whew, golly, I need some water and anyways, pile 2, I hope this message did resonate for you. I personally, I thought it was a really dope unfolding of the message and a really good lesson to learn. So if it did, I would appreciate if you did subscribe to the channel if you're not already, like the video, interact, comment, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile 2. This is probably going to take me a little bit to work through. This energy is very quiet. It's very, it's giving me a kid that is, I don't know, hiding out in the dark, like an inner child maybe, or just a young child that's hiding out in the dark corner somewhere. Talking to their demons is what I heard. And by that, I mean their demons, their own insecurities. That's how this card is coming through. And I'm seeing this is wait. That's how it's I don't know what the demon is trying to do. It's I'm seeing it the demon's ready to get up. I feel even the demons are sick of this person's shit. If this is no disrespect, even your demons are sick of your shit. Maybe you're sick of your demon shit. I'm not sure. This feels conflicting. I just heard of 2 minds. It feels like you're in 2 minds. All right, let me just try to figure out what's going on here. Yeah, okay, so the card that you have is focus, and it's I feel that's what you're being asked to do is focus, or you're having a hard time focus or something, where if there's so much distraction, your demons are distracting you or something. All right, this is the lesson that you're meant to learn. You have the Page of Wands here at the bottom, energy of your deck, which is freedom. Oh, okay, all right. Whew, took me a minute to get there. This is the Dark Grimoire Tarot, and it's very dark imagery. The energy from it doesn't feel dark or scary or anything like that. It's just the way that it's depicted is dark grimoire, right? And it's facing the fear. That's been your lesson of being able to look at the darkness and not be afraid of the darkness. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you've learned and integrated with when it comes to yourself. Because I feel like you have no problem traversing like the darkness of other people and of the world and stuff, you know? But when it comes to something about like your own demons had some kind of a power over you, especially when it comes to the realm of love, because again, these under the realm of love, and then like what you've learned, which was similar to, there was the same thing in the first pile, like what you've taught and how that, it's like how the environment that you were raised in and what you learned growing up, what you were taught, that embedded certain beliefs, and that belief is this: I had a one-way ticket to a place where all the demons go. It's this, because that's the lesson relating to demons of each of these piles. So it's facing your own demons. I had a one-way ticket where all the demons go, where the wind don't change and nothing in the ground could ever grow. That's where your mindset has been. The wind don't change is standing out, and nothing in the ground could ever grow. Like, that's where lack mentality is totally giving me like lack mentality as it relates to love, though. Right? Okay, and it's almost like you were looking at the darker side of love, or that's been your experience. So that's what you had to learn to overcome, was that. And to be more free in love. You have the Page of Wands at the bottom here, to be more excited and be willing to explore more, and not be so, it's like, it's almost like the way that I'm seeing it is like it's afraid to, it's like you found a thing and you're holding on to it so tight, and you're afraid for it to change, because if it changes, it might, I just heard, might not be. And it's like, that's where that hedonistic energy comes in. I don't know that you were doing it intentionally or maliciously, but it's like, this love that I found is it's like, it feels, it's so comforting. It's reassuring. It's, you know what I mean? This feeling that I have. And it's like, I want to make sure that this never goes away. Right? But then addiction to self-pity, but then there was so much stuff that you didn't, that's that's holding on to the reins and holding on to control so tightly, because if you control the narrative of who you are, how you present, like if you just only gave like a small package of you to this person and that's what they like, then that's your way of control. The addiction to self-pity is, I don't want to show the full extent of who I am. I don't want to say that I love you. It's this, like, I knew I loved you then, but you played it. I don't want to show you the full extent of, finish my thoughts. Like, I don't want to show the focus. Yeah, man. Because there's so many, you have a lot of invasive thoughts. And that's what that was the lesson. That was what this, as it relates to love and romance and yourself, that's what this connection, I feel like this is going to be a quick message. Like, I can wrap this up super quickly. But it's that, seeing your own mind and learning to focus your intention and your energy on the slight attribute, which is the truth of who you are, transcending the nature of service to learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. It's the transcendent nature of service to oneself. Okay, so the way that that's coming through is like overcoming these shadow elements of, you know, it's like, oh my God, you know what this is totally reminding me of, especially this Three of Pentacles card right here? I wrote a song. And it is, do I have it somewhere? But anyways, this is when I was in a dark spot, and it's called like, I think it was called like Me and My Shadow or something like that. But it was basically saying like, my shadow is my only friend. You know, like me and darkness, we're like tight or whatever, and my shadow said that they'll be there till the end. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, I think it is it in this notebook? Wait a second, you guys, because I don't even want to put, this is like also my journal, so I don't want to put it on screen because who the hell knows what might flash up on here. But that's where you were, like that's the energy that you were in, this energy of like, my shadow is my only friend, and like it's gonna be there, but like it gets dark. I don't know why it's not coming to me right now. Like the song, that's what that reminded me of, but the actual lyrics, I don't think it's in this notebook. I'll have to find it, and maybe I don't know if I'm gonna do, I don't know if I'm like put myself out there. That's a lot of vulnerability. But anyways, but that's what that's reminding me, where it's like you've gotten so comfortable being in your shadows, being like your demons became your friend, where it's like, well, my demons know who I am. My demons know And then that's the addiction to self-pity, where it's like, my demons know that I could be a cutthroat bitch. Like, that's what this is giving me. Like, my demons know that I could be a cutthroat bitch. My demons know that, like, I don't know. It's almost like this psychic ability is how I'm seeing it. Like this higher perspective, this psychic ability, and how it's like shunned from the world, for example. So it's like, my demons know my ability, that I have these skills. My demons know, like, what my hobbies and my interests are. And this is coming through, honestly, kind of like, it's like the things that you do in the dark, but like the things that you work on, but for me, this is giving me like sexual energy, like your sexual curiosities, or how you, like, the pleasures that you like, or something like that. It's like, my demons know. This is really giving me like Scorpio energy, 8 of Pentacles, for some reason. Like, my demons know the shit that I've been through and how my life is not all together. It's like ripped the fuck apart. I'm seeing like a tornado, and it's like everything's thrown everywhere, and like, it's like, yeah, there's rainbows there, but there's a fucking tornado. Like, it's like, you know, my world's not together. It's all of this stuff. And then this justice in reverse is like, oh, that's the dishonesty. That's the dishonesty. Oh, okay, the focus. I get it. This isn't like, okay, I got it. So this is like hiding the truth of who you are. That's the dishonesty. Because the addiction to self-pity, I'm hearing like, because if they knew, they wouldn't like me. If they knew, they would leave. It's also totally giving me like fear of rejection. I knew I loved you then, but you never know, because I played it cool when I was scared to let it go. That's the dishonesty. That's the focus, where it's like, well, if I'm seeing someone that's so like put together and like prim and proper, and I'm like hearing uptight. I don't think that you are naturally an uptight person. I think that you're actually very free, like very Knave of Wands. You're very like, you're all about exploration and freedom and excitement, and like, it's like a curious little kid, you know what I mean, who just wants to get out and like do things. Like, naturally, that's who you are. But somewhere along your life, your interests and the things that you want to explore, and the way that you enjoy your freedom, and the way that you express your excitement and all those things, it has been taught to you that that's not okay. Like, especially something about freedom. Like, you're not, something about your freedom. It's almost like you've been taught that you're incapable of handling your own freedom, or something like that. And so it's like, you don't want to show how, like, it's like, the way that it's coming through is like, someone has taught you on a subconscious level that you're not capable of handling your own freedom. So like, you're free in secret. You know what I mean? Like, when you're just home, you get to be free and do the things you want. And it's not that it's bad. Quite frankly, it's honestly, it's coming through pretty innocent and pretty just natural world shit. Like, it's like, you're not, I mean, you, but I'm not getting that you're out here like carving dead bodies in your basement and like turning their organs. This is probably way too graphic. I'm not getting anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, maybe you're into tarot or the occult. Maybe you, you know, you like to self-pleasure. Maybe you, I don't know, enjoy sitting in silence. Like, it's just the stuff that's not like readily visible and socially acceptable. This honestly reminds me of like, so the spirit is showing it to me through my lens of autism, where it's like, when I'm in public, I mask, you know, I present myself. I'm very conscious and intentional about how I interact, which probably looks like it's curated, and it probably looks like I'm uptight and I'm this and I'm that, but it's the fear of judgment, of rejection, the fear of not being enough. But then when I go back home, like, and I don't have any eyes on me or anyone ready to say, you can't do that, or why are you doing question, and it's like, I can just be. So if I need to, like, you know, twirl my hair, or I do this thing with my toe, my big toe especially, where it like, I'll just do that. That's a stemming that I do when I'm trying not to be visible. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you know, like there's other things that I do, but it doesn't matter. My point is like where I can let the mask fall off and just be. I don't have to be overly emphatic to prove a point in a conversation. If I'm monotone, I'm monotone. Like my daughter at this point pretty much knows who I am, and she'll tell me sometimes like, I can't tell what, like there's no fluctuation. Like I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or if you're asking a question or if you're telling me, or like, I don't know how you feel about that. And for me, I'm like, stop trying to figure out how I feel and just ask. Like, don't try to figure it out. That shit, I can't. Sorry, but it's like that. That's your energy where it's like, just let me be. Just let me be free to be who I am, and don't try to like figure me out and put me in a category. You know what I mean? And it's like, in types of interaction, that's why it seems like you have a lack of empathy. This is a misunderstood. Like, I feel like the lesson you're meant to learn is, one, why you come across misunderstood. Well, because you're not being your true self. You're not being your true self. And I understand why, especially if you're someone that has a neurodivergence. Like, you're not being, this is totally giving me like masking for the sake of acceptance and whatever. But when you're by yourself, it's like, or if something doesn't work out, like from this heartbreak, okay, I see, because the belief system that you had growing up was this, like, again, you're taught to cry in your pillow. No hope, just lies. You're taught to cry in your pillow. That's you. That's the masking. You know what I mean? Don't show anyone that you're crying. Let me just be this person, and like, let me always be fun all the time, and you know, that type of thing. And it seems like you lacked empathy because self-preservation. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I can't put myself in situations or accept invitations or whatever where I'm exacerbating myself to be someone I'm not for the sake of acceptance or whatever. Something about this cacao is coming through. It's like, I'm seeing like cocoa butter. I heard bomb. Like, that's what you're meant to learn, is that the truth of who you are, the true you it's nourishing. It's a cocoa butter. It's soothing. It's like, people would understand you more if you were your true self. If you were, especially in a love connection. I knew I loved you then. It's like, I played it cool because when I was scared of letting go, instead of saying like, I'm scared of letting you go, and I don't know if that's healthy or not, or what that means, and like, I don't know if that's acceptable or if I like should just accept it or try to work through that or what, but like, I love you and I know that, and I'm afraid of letting go. Instead of doing that, it's just like you played it nonchalant, which is why this person, your divine counterpart, assumes that you lack empathy and that you just go after like, you're like thrill seeking. And then you have low self-esteem and confident. Yeah, there's a lot of like energy, back and forth energy, where they can't figure it out. Where it's like, one minute you're coming across like low self-esteem, addicted to pity, and then the next, like, you're confident and you're in this Knave of Wands, like, explorative free energy. Somehow they've seen both parts of this, of you. And it's like they can't reconcile it. But then, okay, so now I'm hearing your energy come through, like, stop trying to figure me out and just ask. In my mind, I'm seeing my Speak Up throat chakra magic candle. And it's like that. I think that, so a part of your lesson is learning to use your voice to speak up, to get out of this martyr energy, you know, where it's like, oh, well, I'm getting like putting other people's needs and stuff above your own. No, speak up on your needs. Speak up on who you are, what you can do, and where your limits are, you know. And then I don't get that you're a person that doesn't leave room for other people's needs to be met, but you don't make it your responsibility to pull their needs out. Like, the same way that you're capable of being like, well, these are my needs, you know, it's like you are assuming. This is really giving me this is very much giving me like ASD, or maybe that my spirit guides are just doing it through my, like, showing me through my lens, so to communicate the message. But this is giving me like direct communication. Like, I'm not responsible for managing you, you know, like, I don't know what your needs are or whatever. Like, I shouldn't have to like pull teeth. There's a conflict because it's like, that's your energy, but then you get in these situations where you really love someone and you're afraid to lose that. You're afraid to let it go. And then you become a martyr, where it's like you start sacrificing yourself. Did I see that here? No. your low self-esteem, like it's like that. And then it's like, say you won't let go. It's like I feel like you need the confirmation, the reassurance. Like if you just say you won't let go, and not even, it's weird because I feel like you stop yourself from saying, because you hear how that sounds. Like, I don't want you to make, like, I don't want to force you into something that you don't want, just say you won't let go. Like, I'm not here to tell you, but also like, just say you won't let go, because I need that reassurance. You know what I mean? It's the conflict of like, the voice. It's the conflict of like, not saying like, I need your reassurance that this is what you need, or that I'm like what you want, and that, like, you would respect my differences, and you're not gonna like put me in competition with anyone. And if you don't want what I have to offer, that you would say that. But also, if you do want this, like, that you're not gonna leave because of my differences. It's like that, you know what I mean? Like, this is owning that. Like, this is, it's like communicating that I'm getting, okay, because, and then trying, it's like, holy ASD, there's so much happening right now. It's like ASD and ADHD, but it's the focus. It's like being able to reel yourself back in from like spiraling, because I'm this person and my experiences and that's the lesson you're meant to learn. Focus. Like, nope, be direct. And it's in situations that involve you. The heart, though, is what I'm getting, because unbreak my heart is standing out. Unbreak my heart, say you love me again. It's like you get so afraid of love, and not that you're afraid to engage with love. You're afraid that it will not last, or it will be taken away. So you don't want to put yourself out there to be rejected. But in trying to curate yourself and control the narrative in that way, and like control who you are, you're not being your full self. And that's what actually ends up creating this separation, this rejection. It's like you're breaking your own heart. You know what I'm saying? Because when you first meet a person, you're in this Knave of Wands energy where you're free, you're exploring, and then you start to like them, and then now you like, I'm seeing someone climb up like no sudden movements. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I don't want to ruin it. But doing that instead of just being yourself is what ruins it. It's like being afraid to show yourself because you're afraid of rejection is actually what creates the rejection. And then that's when you spiral into this self-pity of like, oh, I'm just whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to like, whatever these are real experiences. I'm not trying to invalidate that. It's real experiences, where it's like, damn, like I always do this thing, or somehow I always end up misunderstood. And for you, I think that it really is mind-boggling. Like, you really are like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? But it's that you, in trying to figure out the proper way to move forward, you're reiterating that you're wrong. And that's the demon. That's the self. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Where, like, that's what you're meant to recognize and learn. That's the focus. Where instead of being like, what am I doing wrong? It's like, okay, how can I do differently to move forward? It's reframing. It's just taking off your lens and cleansing it off a little bit, reframing it. You know what I mean? That's the lesson that you're meant to learn. You are who you are, and who you are is valuable and worth everything and love. I'm seeing these rainbows that are standing out, and it's just like reminding me of God's promise to never flood the earth again. And it's like that. When you accept yourself, that's the promise. That's the promise of, it's like, that is the rainbow. Accepting yourself is the rainbow. And what I mean by that is like, the rainbow is God's promise to never flood the earth again. This bad shit that's happened will never happen again. When you accept that you are the rainbow, when you accept the rainbow, when you accept yourself fully and you allow it to just be, that's the promise. It's like that's the moment when it's going to cut off from this repeating cycle to propel you forward to the world, the earth will never be flooded again kind of situation. Does that make sense the way that I described that analogy? I hope so. Because what I'm trying to say is like, the rainbow is a symbol, the reminder that you're good. You're past the flooding, the tornado, the chaos, all of that stuff. But the rainbow, as it relates to you, is the point in which you accept who you are fully and completely. Fully and completely. Without judgment. It's wild that this is the judgment card, but it's like without judgment. Like, I mean, don't allow what I mean by that is, so Spirit's saying like, Spirit's not judging you. You are designed exactly as you are designed. So just because society or some other human being who likely has a difficulty accepting their self is telling you not to accept parts of yourself doesn't mean that you're meant to do that way. If you have, especially like, so the way this is coming through, like especially if you have divine gifts, if you're into the occult or anything like that, this is a gift that was given directly to you on a soul level. Like you incarnated in this physical body with this ability. You know what I mean? It was given to you for you to be able to utilize for the collective, for the higher good. So if someone's telling you otherwise, don't take that on. Don't make that another demon that you're trying to paint or another demon that you're trying to sculpt. You might actually, I'm getting like creative, you might express your demon side in an artistic way. Maybe you do like painting, dark painting, or poetry, songwriting, something like that, something to express these things that you wouldn't necessarily have in conversation with people, because it might be a thing that like people would respond like you're crazy, or like that's weird that you'd say that or think that, when really these people just haven't explored that part of their self and accepted it or owned it, or they're keeping it a secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it reminds me of like, that the point when I made the decision to try to, I don't know how to say this in a way that it's YouTube appropriate, but to unalive myself, you know, and I was having a conversation with a friend afterwards about it. And it wasn't like the person just treated me like a person, like someone that they knew, not like, oh my God, you're crazy, and oh, you need help, and oh my gosh, or even that I'm pitiful. They didn't like handle me with kid gloves. It was just like, damn, yo, life be like that sometimes. Like I felt that way. I was never brave enough to actually take action. You know what I mean? And then like if I needed to talk about it or whatever, they would. If they had questions, like, you know, they gave me the space to answer. If I said, nah, I don't really want to get into it, they respected that. It's that. It's just treating me like a person. You know what I'm saying? And where I feel like you don't really have, it's like so your way of expressing that is through some creative form. Because you don't have people where you can have that conversation, or you don't have very many people where you can have the conversation where you can talk about the truth. This is giving me very 8th house Scorpio energy, like your hidden truths, hidden bread, like hidden, just the things that we try to hide, our subconscious, our shadow selves. Our shadow selves are demons. You know what I mean? Like you don't have, so yeah. So you creatively express that some way. Maybe you're even a person that does tarot. But it's cathartic. That's healing for you. That's how you're able to overcome and transcend nature of service to one self or a cause. Yes, learning how to transcend your experiences and turn your shadows into your friends. And I mean that I mean that in a way that it's like, one time I wrote this other poem that was like, it was something along the lines of like, me and myself had a conversation, and we all agreed that the three of, basically it was talked about, it was like me and myself had a conversation, and we all came to an agreement, and it was my higher self, my ego self, and my shadow self, and one had things it needed to release, and one needed room to express and be free, and one something. It's a short poem, so I'll probably add it on the screen or whatever. There's a lot of like creative energy coming through, but that's you, where it's like that. And there's the acknowledgement that your shadow self needs room to express. So whether that's creatively, like through poem or songwriting or painting, or even just having a conversation with someone that you can trust, that is going to maintain the sacred connection between you and cultivate the space where it's safe for them to share these things. And you in return, if that's what you need, where you can express these things and feel like it's I just need to get it out. It's okay. I need to give my shadows space to exist as well. Because we're never going to be without shadows. We're never going to be without an ego. And we are spirit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like learning how to balance and integrate and express all sides of that. So even if that's like you get into a relationship where you guys have kinky sex, and it's like that's an expression of your shadow. Maybe you have fantasies that might be less than acceptable in regular society, but it works for you and your partner. You know, it's a way to express the shadow self, and it doesn't even have to be it doesn't even have to devolve into a whole psychological thing. It's just space to express. It doesn't have to be picked apart, analyzed, judged, anything like that. Same with your ego, as long as it's in balance. Same with your spirituality, as long as it's in balance. Always internal reflection and checkpoints and stuff are good. I feel like I don't have to tell you this though, because that's the lesson that you've learned. That's the lesson that you've learned through this connection. But as it relates to love specifically, like again, I'm getting that this aspect of shadow self and shadow work, when it comes to other people, when it even comes to yourself, is something that you do and have achieved, and you're very, very good at it. Like you might even be like guru level, but when it comes to your shadows as it relates to love, that is one that you've had to learn to kind of master and again, transcend. So that's what this third party connection was intended to teach you. That's what it was meant to teach you. But honestly, I feel like you've learned that. You've leveled up. Yeah, because it's about acceptance. Yeah, bottom of the second. That's what you've accepted. That's what you've learned. So this, again, the bottom of this deck card here is Exorcist. So you've moved into freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. So again, this isn't about perfection. It's learning and integrating, and it's a process, right? So sometimes we get it right. Sometimes we get it wrong. But the more that we practice, the better we get at it. So the more we'll get it right. So that was a pretty good message, pile 2. Slow start, but we got there. And congratulations. This is amazing. I really love this. Although this is showing up like really like dark shadow energy, I feel like this illuminates, this really brings my attention to the light in you. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I'm seeing someone like having their shadows out in the open. Like it takes a very enlightened, evolved, like personal power. Like your inner light has to be strong in order to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Because the light ultimately it like, I want to say it like casts onto the shadows or whatever. And it kind of like makes the shadows not seem as dark. Like, oh, okay. It's just, you ever see like a shadow and like when the light is in certain angles, it makes the shadow look bigger, but when the light is moved, it makes the shadow look like appropriate sized or whatever. I feel like your inner light does that with your shadows, where the world might see shadow elements and these as demons, as very like, oh, it's so big and this is toxic and da 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 da. But really it's just like, no, this is just a tiny wound and we're working on healing it and it's no big deal. Other people have it. Like I'm interacting with it appropriately, you know. I'm seeing it, I'm acknowledging it, I'm caring it for it, I'm cleaning it, I'm nurturing it, mending it, like that. Like I'm healing it so that it's no longer, you know, a focal point. Like I can actually move on to things beyond the wound, you know. And so that's great. So that's really wonderful. I love that. That's marvelous. I hope this message did resonate for you, pile 2. If so, please don't forget to subscribe if you are not already. And I hope to see you in the next video. Feel free to like the video, leave comments, and check back for another video sometime next week. All right, see you next time. Bye. Okay, another message that came through like right after I ended that is a part of what you were meant to learn is your hyper independent. You have this independence about you that is, it's like, it is meant to be beneficial because it's supposed to encourage and support your sovereignty in relationships of all kind, where it prevents you from being victimized by emotional manipulation and manipulation in general. But there's a warning from your guides to be careful to be careful and cognizant of this independence, and ensuring that it's not, that you don't become so independent that, I almost want to say like that you feel disconnected, or that the other people that you're in a relationship feel disconnected, where it's like, well, if you're capable of doing everything on your own, then what do you need me for? You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to come to me and talk to me, if you don't want to have conversations, if you don't want to do for me, if you don't want to receive my help, what do you need me for? Like be careful and be cognizant of that independent energy, and when you're using that as a protection mechanism because you're afraid of letting go. Right? Okay. So anyways, that's it. I promise I will see you in the next video. Bye. so I wanted to, let me align this properly, sorry. I wanted to come back and just do a quick message because as I was going through and doing the editing, there was something that wasn't really settling right about, I don't know, the way that the message was being delivered. And so I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer, I guess, so to speak. So first thing is, whatever I communicated in that message, well, whatever spirit is communicating through me in that message still applies. But I want to be clear because not to throw you off or to cause any alarms, in the third pile, your energy was coming through as karmic. And I mentioned that throughout the video. What I want to say is this though. It's important to understand what that means to be a karmic person, especially as opposed to being a divine counterpart. And when I reference the scenario in this third party situation, I'm referencing you as the third party. That does not, however, Spirit is saying very clearly, that does not mean that you were not. So the way that you may have been the one in relationship with this person. So in a third party situation, there's the person you're in competition with, and then there's the person that you're in competition for. You may have ended up with that person that you were in competition for. But the reason why you ended up with the person that you guys were in competition for was because you basically exhausted that person. You kind of wore them down to, you kept prying and prying and prying and prying. There was a lot of energy of assertiveness and aggression in pile 3 coming from you. And that's basically what you did, was you wore this person down in competition. And so while you may have ended up with this person, and you may still very well be with this person, that doesn't mean that you are the divine counterpart because you've won out. The way that you've won out was through means of manipulation and just karmic. That's where your energy comes in as karmic. The way that you I just heard the way that you got the guy. So maybe you're a woman and it's a guy, or maybe you're a man and it's a guy, or maybe it's a guy you're after. I don't know. But the way that you got the person that you guys were in competition for was through creating conflict and between the person you ended up with and that person's divine counterpart, which is the third party situation. So I just wanted to throw that out there because we're talking about third party, and sometimes, it's hard to tell whether or not we are the karmic or whether or not we're the third party when we end up. I'm saying we as if I'm in that position, but sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not you're the third party if you end up in a relationship with the person you're in competition for. That doesn't mean that you're not the third party or that you're not karmic. So that was all over the place. I'm sorry, but I hope that made sense, and I just wanted to clarify that. But now getting into your message. Bye. Okay, so pile 3. Right away, what I would say is that this energy is coming through as very karmic. So hear me out. By that, what I mean is not that you are a bad person. I try to stay away from that language. I think that we're all people. We do the best that we can based on what we know. And we come here and incarnate on this earth so that our soul can learn various lessons to evolve. In that process of engaging with our life, we align ourselves with other people to learn these lessons and ultimately teach these other people lessons as well, not in an intentional way, that just by design. We are all interacting with each other, and depending on how much we engage with life determines how much we can learn from other people. So everybody that we interact with, we have the ability to learn from. The same is true for you. Anybody that interacts with you has the ability to learn from you. And sometimes what they learn are lessons of lower vibration. Right? And by that, what I mean is that you are karmic in the sense that people that align with you are to learn the lesson about themselves, of how they're in a lower vibration in order to attract someone like you, because you're in lower vibration. And let me just stick with me. I know this is coming through a little bit direct and harsh, and it's not. It's gonna shift, but just bear with me if you can. If you feel triggered and you're ready to click out, I respect that also. But if you can, Spirit is really driving home that there's a lesson to be learned here, and it's going to be articulated in the way that you need to hear it in order to really just bring this lesson full circle, right? So a part of what you're meant to learn here is how you are functioning in lower vibration. Spirit is coming through with compassion though, because they're saying that you do have compassion in your heart. It's just so calloused over, and you have such weak faith. I think that you are someone that also is psychically connected, and you get these, you're psychically connected and you're not realizing that this intuitive information that you get of how to move and why things are working out is because you're connecting to spirits of lower vibration that really are just in, I know this is Queen of Wands, but the way that this is coming through is, it's like, yes, there's courage and there's determination here, but it's the determination. I just heard by any means necessary, to make something happen for you by any means necessary. And this is the Lilith card. Not only that, but it's also like having the courage in spaces where you shouldn't have courage, because your card that you have here, the shadow attribute, is offering only destructive criticism, misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. The way that it's coming through is like the way that it's lined up, where it's like having the courage to present yourself in this loving, compassionate way, which is really just manipulation, like aggressively compassionate and loving. This is giving me almost like smothering energy and offering only destructive criticism. So the way that your energy is coming through is that you're someone that you present that you are encouraging or supporting someone by talking them out of something because it doesn't benefit you, or you don't see how it would benefit. You know, it's like projecting your fear. Like someone might come to you and say, I have this business idea, and you will talk them out of it and position it as, I'm supporting you because, you know, this wouldn't work for you because da 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 da, and you list like you're incapable or you're whatever, and it's destructive criticism instead of it being like, okay, I think that if it was placed in your heart, then it was there for a reason, and you know, and then encouraging that way in a way that's of the highest vibration and not of the I'm afraid to be left out. That's what this is giving me. I'm afraid to be left out. I'm afraid to be left behind. I need to use the basics of what I have. It's wild that you have the respect card, but it's fake, because what I mean by that is like, look at how this card is so covered. You don't see, I can't tell if it's a man under here, a woman, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. There's nothing you can delineate about what's underneath this. I just heard facade. Everything is covered, and that's you. That's what you're meant to learn. You're expecting to get respect, but it's a facade. You're cloaking is what I'm hearing. Like, you're not bringing your true self. So whatever respect that you get is fake, and you earn this quote unquote respect. And I'm going to explain that in a minute, because it's not true respect, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you earn this respect by using your body. I could have my Gucci on, I could wear my Louis Vuitton, but even with nothing on, I made you look. This is giving me like a lot of, so the way that this is coming through is that you might be a feminine in, like a female in masculine energy. So, and what I mean by that is like, again, it's very aggressive. Like, you aggressively go after what you want. And if you need to use, I just heard again, by any means necessary, in a very overbearing, impulsive way. And if you need to use your physical body, like nudity, you might be someone like, you might have like an OnlyFans, or maybe you frequently send nude pictures, sexual pictures. You entice people through sexuality. Very provocative, in your face sexuality. This isn't like, you know, there's classy sexuality, healthy sexuality, and that connectivity and expressing it in a way that's empowering. And then there's a way that is degrading. And it's like, I know that the flesh is weak, and so I'm going to pimp myself out to get what I want, in, again, misusing business, legal, or criminal authority, offering only destructive criticism. It's that. It's like, I'm going to pimp myself out to get what I want, because you don't trust that you have the Taurus here. Like, you don't trust that you have enough to 10 of Pentacles in reverse. You don't have enough to build a life, a legacy with someone, to sustain that. You don't trust yourself enough. And that's the lesson, especially when it comes to love, is like, I feel like you're realizing that your tactics don't work. You know, like everything that you used before doesn't work. And with weak fake, I just said weak fake. Weak fake. That is it, the way that that's coming. I meant to say weak faith, obviously, but weak fake. And it's almost like that, where you're realizing like this person has seen through this facade. And it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so now I just heard tricks of the trade. All of the tricks of the trade RIP is standing out. All the tricks of the trade, RIP to them. It's not working anymore, right? So now you're moving into this, like, I just heard sad sop, martyr, unbreak my heart, say you love me again, undo the hurt you caused, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's still like undo the hurt you caused when you walk out the door. It's still giving me very like, this is giving me kind of narcissistic energy, where it's like I want the way, okay, because this is connecting me to only offering destructive criticism and misusing business, legal, and criminal authority. And I know that's very like tangible, structured, da da da, but it's also, this is like manipulative energy, misusing your own innate internal power of your femininity to attract things in a manipulative manner. It's that. Sensuality, sexuality, that's what I mean. And so, but even in that, like, whoa, pity me, you know what I mean? You're still like throwing daggers, because it's like undo the hurt that you cause when you walk out the door. You know what I mean? And then it's back to that victim, like uncry these tears. I cried so many nights, unbreak my heart. Like you're making that responsibility someone else's, and you're not being accountable for yourself. There's a lot of a lack of accountability, because to be accountable for you means to accept the fact that you are not able to offer what the divine counterpart is able to offer, just by naturally being herself. She doesn't have to, or I'm saying she, but because I'm going back to the other powers, good Lord, Aaliyah. I'm going back to, I don't know why I almost said powers. But it's like that. This is like, it's giving me very power coupable. So very power couple, but you're realizing that you don't have what this other divine counterpart in this third party connection has just innately. She has it innately. You were using means of manipulation, of tactics, of strategy, of sexuality, of it's like overthrow. I'm seeing a siren in my third eye, and you know, so I don't know if you know, but like a siren is a mermaid that like lures the like sailors on the boat in with their song to do whatever, but to like take advantage. You know what I mean? Eat them something. I'm not really sure. But yes, this is giving you man-eater energy. Like that's where you've built up your strength. But that cannot sustain. And that's the lesson that you're meant to learn here. That cannot sustain. Excuse me. The bottom of the cup energies is 7 of Cups. It's like, it's crazy though, because I feel like you're still looking for, like, it's, how do I describe this? It's almost like, this is giving me such a lack of accountability, where it's like you're trying to make the situation hazy, where even in describing this, I feel your energy trying to like pull on mine for sympathy, like, oh, but this, you know what I mean? Or try to throw in information to make it look hazy, or well, this happened, and or I was going through it. There's a lack of accountability, you know? It's like there's a lot of like, well, but what about this factor? And what about, okay, we're talking about the lesson you're meant to learn and how you've contributed to this situation, how you are breaking your own heart. Because it's that the theme is the same for pile 1 and pile 2. It's talking about how you're breaking your own heart based on your own demons as it comes to how you connect to love. And that for you is, you're undervaluing yourself. It's sexually. It's that for you, how your demons for you are that you don't feel like you're enough. And it's crazy because the time that you spend cultivating this strategy to be manipulative and all, like none of these you can't see eyes. And you know, they say the eyes are solar. Her eyes are closed. You cannot see eyes. The only thing whose eyes that you can see is the 10 of Pentacles in reverse and this 7 of Cups. I feel like the partner that you were with, the divine counterpart that you were with, okay, it's not your divine counterpart. I hope that makes sense. Like, no disrespect, but your energy is coming through as a third party. So the divine counterpart, the opposite sex of you, right? It's like that person is eyes wide open. They see who you are. They are seeing that nothing can be built here. No legacy can be established here. You know what I mean? Like we can't culminate or grow anything. There's nothing to inherit, and not that they're looking to seek from you, but it's like you're not contributing anything to build here. You're just using sex and sexuality and aggression, and that can come from anywhere. Like that's not anything to build on, you know, because how can that sustain when the sex drive dries up and we're old or whatever? What is there left except for resentment and bitterness because you manipulated me along the path and I allowed you to? That's the energy of your, I don't know how to call it, but that divine counterpart, not yours, but the person that you were involved with. That's what I'll say, the person you were involved with, you know? But going back to this, like all these cards represent you, and none of these cards have eyes, and the eyes are solar. And it's like you are so disconnected from your soul that's why you're a karmic, because there's so much shadow and dark energy that you have to transcend and overcome in order to reconnect and align with your soul. You're so connected to your shadow and even to your ego. Because the ego says, my body is sexy, my body is attractive, I am my body, I am my manipulation, I am my power. That's the ego. The shadow says, I'm not enough on my own, so I need to use my body for this, and I need to use haziness and manipulation and judgments and aggression to get this. That's the shadow side. You're so in back and forth between the ego and the shadow. You are so disconnected from the alignment of your soul. That's the weak faith, which is wild because you are coming through as very intuitively and psychically connected, but what you're not recognizing is that intuition and that drive to do something is connecting with spirits that are low vibrational. They're pretty evil. Like look at how aggressive and fierce and just all of these cards are depicted. You know what I mean? Well, most of these cards, but they're all just very like, I don't know if you can see those. You know, they look very like heavy in low vibration and shadows and just kind of, this type of imagery is not what I would turn to if I were looking to like really calm and soothe myself and connect with like, I'm just the imagery alone. Do you get what I mean? And that's what you're not seeing about yourself. That's the lesson that you're meant to learn. And quite frankly, I don't know that you have learned it. But ametrine, I don't know what this is. This was coming through with a message of like over concern with materialism. Like you don't have, it's crazy because you keep telling yourself like you have to rely on getting material wealth and stability from someone else. But the amount of effort that you put into strategizing to get someone else's money, and specifically gold is standing out to me for some reason. So I don't know if you like want to wear a lot of jewelry, a lot of gold or something like that, but gold is standing out to me. But it's like specifically to get this, you have to strategize in a way, and let me use this and set this up. That amount of effort, what you're not realizing, if you put and focus that in a positive direction, in the light attribute, and balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power, you would see that you don't need another person. You are more than capable of cultivating this yourself, but it requires work. This, like, you can't, knowing yourself, knowing your limits, knowing your thresholds is going to help to prevent you from burnout. But this is coming through as laziness. There's a difference between burnout and laziness. And I will be the first to say, you know, I don't ever want to just assign lazy. I don't like that. I don't like just assigning laziness, but this energy is coming through lazy specifically when it comes towards working towards something for yourself, because you're not lazy when it comes to strategizing and taking advantage of people. You are on it. You are active. You are aggressive. You have the drive in that way. But when it comes to like, okay, get this job or start this business or learn a hobby, find a passion, things that have to do with yourself, there's laziness. Like you make every excuse not to. Why? You're not understanding. I think that what the spirit wants you to see is that is connected to your lack of self-worth. And it just keeps feeding each other. The excuses you make about not starting is feeding your lack of self-worth and your worth and not working towards something productive for you. But that mentality is also what perpetuates, you not getting started. one is reiterating the other. You have to break the cycle. I mean, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but that's what Spirit is encouraging you. That's the lesson that you're meant to learn, to see this so that you can break the cycle. Why? So that you can ultimately get like your fulfillment. You have the Queen of Cups, and yes, it's in reverse, but and the Empress underneath it, also in reverse. And I'm just getting like, so you can get out of this energy, honestly, so that you can learn to attract in a more loving, compassionate way and not in a manipulative way. Because I'm surprised that I was like, I'm surprised you didn't get the Queen of Wands, but I thought it would be in reverse. Because that's how the Queen of Wands in reverse is very like competitive and jealous, insecure, selfish. And no disrespect, that's how your energy is coming through. I genuinely do mean it when I say no disrespect. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know that, but you know, this is a channel of hard truths. So this is like, yeah, I deliver hard truth tarot. Might change my channel name to that. Just kidding. Because that's what we need, you know, when we're coddled or enabled. That's not conducive for growth or evolution. Right? And that's what my channel is all about, growth and evolution. So if hard truth is not for you, or growth and evolution is not for you, my channel is not for you. And I accept that. That's okay, because it's your journey and you get to choose. But if you decide that this is something that you want to take on and revisit, I'll be here, and I would be happy to have you back and to work through this with you. But you got to see it first. You have to see it first before anyone has to see it before they can make the change. Or else how do you know what you're changing? You know what I mean? So that's the message. That is what I have for this third-party situation and what you were meant to learn. So first of all, recognizing and accepting and being accountable for the fact that you are the karmic. And you don't always have to be the karmic. You can move out of that energy when you choose to see the lessons that you're meant to learn about yourself, about how you engage, your interactions, your relationships, what you've learned through your adolescence that's not true, and how that sets you up to be unsuccessful in love, and how you're breaking your own heart. I had a one-way ticket to the place where all the demons go. This is giving me very like, again, there's no accountability, and there's a lot of victim mentality. Like, oh, well, you know, I wasn't taught, or I didn't know, and I had a one-way ticket where all the demons go. Like, that's the only place I can go, and the wind never changed, and nothing in the ground ever grew, and there was no hope. And it's like, all right, we understand that. You've learned that. You've recognized that that was the case. Now, let's be accountable for the fact that you have the ability to see things differently and to do differently. Yes, that is what you were taught, but that's not the only thing in the world that can be taught. And there are other people who learned differently. There are other people who had the same experience as you and taught their way out of that. You can do the same. You can go to those other people and they can learn and guide you, sometimes through tarot. I also encourage introspection and connecting with your own guides, your own angels, your own ancestors, your own divine connection. You know what I mean? So let's get out of the like, oh, this is how it was. And yes, was is past tense. Let's focus on the now. What is it now, and what would you like it to be? How can we change that? That's what Spirit is trying to get you to see. There is so much lack of accountability. I'm repeating myself at this part. So I'm sorry if that made you cry. I'm getting the energy of like tears coming through, if that was really triggering. That was not my intention. Again, all of these messages were meant to illuminate the situation, but with compassion for yourself and for everybody involved in the situation, right? And you're not excluded. You know what I mean? You're not excluded. So there is compassion here for you, but there's also like a boundary that's like, this will not be accepted. If you choose to accept this for yourself, you will continue to perpetuate these cycles where you're breaking your own heart, but it's up to you to decide. Either way, these divine counterparts are done with you. They've learned their lesson. I just heard forever. They're done with you forever. Like, that's not to say that they have ill intention or they'll never speak to you again or anything, but as far as becoming romantically involved with you, or you being in competition with the other, you know, same-sex divine counterpart, or however it works, whatever this third-party dynamic is, whoever you were in competition with and whoever you were trying to get, that's all done. That's all shut down. And if it's not at this very moment, if you're like, joke's on you, I'm still with this person, it's coming quite quickly. Spirit is saying quite quickly. I'm surprised that I didn't. Chariot card, exactly. Like, oh, we're moving on. I was going to say I'm surprised that I didn't see the Tower card. But in the Lovers, see, yeah, no, this divine counterparts. That's what divine wants to succeed, and that's how it will be set up. That's how it is set up, and that's what will come, you know? So either way, this is not your divine counterpart, and you need to learn your lesson before you can align with your divine counterpart. Otherwise, you're constantly going to find yourself in karmic situations, and you're going to be a karmic. So that's what I have. I know that that was a hard truth again. Sorry if that was so. No, I'm not sorry, because you know what? I embrace the fact that I'm a direct communicator. I prefer it. I like it. And if that's not your style, again, thank you so much for being here. And I will not be offended if you don't return. But I'm happy to engage if you are willing to learn and accept and be accountable and grow. So pile 3, if this message resonated and you find that it was helpful, please be sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, like, comment, do all the things, and I will potentially see you in another video. Bye.